Good day, ma'am. We are the Group 5. We will first introduce ourselves. By the way, Princess Ansala Bara, together with my co-members, Rhea Joyas, Angel Stephen, and Marjorie Amor Iberano. Veronique Hajmalin. Our topic is all about construction of different types of tests.
Good day, everyone. My name is Rhea Aslim from PED 2A. Our topic is all about construction of different types of tests. The intended learning outcomes. After studying this module, you are expected to discuss the guidelines, advantages, and disadvantages of the different types of tests. Next, to construct questions for each type of test by the following the guidance. Last is show skills and critiquing an existing set of questionnaires for the different types of tests. So, before I discuss the topic, we will know first the introduction of the topic. So, designing tests is an important part of assessing students' understanding of course content and their level of competency in applying what they are learning. To measure student learning, a teacher can construct questions that may include different levels of the cognitive domain, but much more important is to include reasonable items for high-order thinking skills. Most tests are in the form of paper pencil tests, serve as a summative assessment, that is, they measure students' performance on a given task. A form of written examination, the questionnaire may include different types of tests like multiple choice, matching type, true or false, supply type, and subjective type, and essay type items. So I have an activity here. So in life, there are many types of tests. How do you take them? Here are some quotations. What can you say about this quote? Life is the most difficult exam. Many people fail because they try to copy others, not realizing that everyone has a different question paper. For you class, do you agree or disagree? So for me, maybe because you can answer the exam or questionnaires if you study hard. And you know the answers and don't need to copy anymore. Never compare yourself to someone else because we all have our own struggles we are dealing with that nobody knows about. Next is another quote. My life feels like a test I didn't study for. What can you say about this quote? Have you ever been stuck on a question on a test for too long? Just like that, you can be stuck in life on what to do or not do. Life is just like a test you didn't study for. In life, do you know what will happen tomorrow or the day after tomorrow? No. In life, many questions come in which you may not be sure or know the answer to. This way, life pretty much feels like a test, and no matter what you do, you cannot change the fact. Sometimes you reach the point where you blank out and don't know what to do. But there is always an answer, just like in a test. Life feels like a test I didn't study for because you don't know what may happen. You will feel lost, and even you try, you can study for it. Can you tell your future and know what obstacles you will face? Absolutely not. In life, you must be ready for any obstacles that come your way. Life can feel like at a test because many of times you are unprepared for what is going to come. You study for your math test, but it ends up being a physics test. What do? You don't know what is going to happen or how to deal with it, such as a math test. When you don't know the formula for a question, you don't know what you should do to get the right outcome. At least in math, there is a formula and you can plug in the information and get your answer, but in life, you don't get formulas to solve your problem. Knowing what to do on a test is the worst feelings, but not as bad as feelings lost in life. No one is 100 sure about what they want to do in life. You can be lost trying to find a career for yourself, but you can decide right now because it all depends on your grades. When solving long integer question, you can end up doing it all wrong, and that is because of a small mistake of forgetting to put a negative sign. This can be make you crazy because when your answer doesn't match with the teacher, you go hunting for your mistake and you feel lost. But once you find it, you can fix your mistakes. Sometimes when you feel lost in life, you just have to go back and find your mistake and then solve it. Always trace back your steps and see what you can do. For tests, we have to choose to study or not, but on the other hand, in life, you can study. You just be ready. You can study for your life, nor you can cheat your way out. You must be honest and be ready to face any consequences in a test when you didn't study. You can cheat because sooner or later you will get caught. You just have to try to remember what you were taught and try to at least pass the test so then you will remember to study next time. In conclusion, every step and moment of your life is a test you can study for. You will never know what will happen until you decide to do it and see yourself if that is what you want. You will always feel lost, but somehow you will find your place. The only disadvantage is that you just can study for it like you can study for a test, and that is why life feels like a test you didn't study for. Life is like a test. Question is, what do you do if you are scheduled to take a written examination? What can you say about written examination? It's to be eligible for appointment to some job titles, and an applicant must attain the passing score on a written examination. That's all for me. Next, Miss Barra will report the different types of tests.
Good day everyone, I am Princess Ansela Pudinbara. I will discuss to you the different types of tests. Multiple test questions, also known as items, can be effective and efficient way to assess learning outcomes. Multiple choice or objective response or MCQ is a form of an objective assessment in which respondents are asked to select only correct answers from choices offered a list. What is MCQ? What is the use of this? MCQ is helpful in collecting information and feedback from a target audience. Example of this is many businesses share the popular MCQ questions. Another example, how satisfied are you with a product or services? The response options include extremely satisfied, satisfied, neutral satisfied, and lastly, extremely dissatisfied. Wait, before I proceed to another example of multiple choice, I have here the example of multiple choices questionnaire. I get this from my mother because she is also a elementary teacher with a profession. This is the example of multiple choice test question. You can see here the choices like that, and another is this. You can choose what kind of expression they choose. This is the example also the multiple choices question. Overall, what is the meaning of multiple choice question? Multiple choice question is one of which you are given a list of answers and you have to choose the correct one. The versatility. Multiple choice test items can be written to assess various levels of learning outcomes. Example, from basic recall to application, analysis, and evaluation. Because students choosing a set from a potential action. That is in versatility. In short, versatility, ability to adapt or be adapted to many different functions or activities. Example of versatility. He was a versatile guitarist and recorded with many leading rock bands. Let's move to reliability. Reliability defines as the degree to which a test consistently measures a learning outcomes. Multiple choice test items are less susceptible to guessing than true or false questions. In short, in short, reliability, the quality of being trustworthy or of performing consistently well. Example of reliability: when a measurement is consistent, it's reliable. But of course, reliability doesn't mean your outcome will be the same. It just means that is in the same range. Lastly, reliability is important because it's determines the value of psychological tests or a study. My last topic is about validity. Validity is the degree to which a test measures the learning outcomes its purpose to measure. What is validity? Validity, the quality of being logically or factually soundness. Lastly, what do we mean by validity? Validity refers to how accurately a method measures what it is intended to measure.
Good day, ma'am. I am Angel Stephanie F. Eugenio, and I'm from BED 2A. And today, I'm going to discuss about the constructing an effective STEM. Number 1. The STEM should be meaningful by itself. It means to show the problem plainly. They would be great when learners can answer it without looking the option. If a STEM doesn't present a problem clearly, it may be ambiguous for learners to answer it or to understand. Number 2. The STEM should not contain irrelevant material. It means, it says here to avoid irrelevant materials. This can decrease the reliability of the assessment course. Students should be able to determine the problem from the question rather than by viewing. Number 3. The STEM should be negatively. It means the STEM should be negatively stated when significant learning outcomes require. Students often have difficulty understanding items with negative. Number 4. The STEM should be a question. The STEM should be a question. It means the focus or salient part of a particular question that the respondent or examinee is asked to answer. The cognitive load is increased when the STEM is constructed with an initial or interior blank, so this construction should be avoided. Thank you, and I hope you understand.
All alternatives should be plausible. The functions of the incorrect alternative is to serve all distractors, which should be selected by students who did not achieve the learning outcome by ignoring by students who did achieve the learning outcome. Alternatives that are implausible do not serve as functional distractions and thus should not be used common student errors to provide the best source of distractions. Means it's
Identifying the problem or challenge start by clearly defining the problems or goal that needs to be observed or addressed. This will be provide the context of generation alternative. Alternatives should be state clearly and concisely items, not are excessively words, assess student reading ability rather than their attainment of the learning objective. To encourage creative thinking and to generate a wide range of possible solutions, to encourage individual or a group to think outside the box and consider a variety of perspectives and approaches. Alternatives should be homogeneous in context or alternatives that heterogeneous in context to provide us to student about the correct answer. Based on the evaluations narrow, allow the list to the most promising alternatives by identifying the ones that are most likely to meet the desired objective overcome and identifying challenge. Alternatives shall be free from clues about which response is correct. Sophisticated test takers are alert to inadvertent clues to the correct answer shock us different in grammar, length, formatting, and language choice in the alternative is therefore important that alternatives. Take the selected alternative is refined, then folded, also identifying any potential weaknesses or limitations and find ways to address them. The alternative should be represented in a logical order, alphabetical or numerical to avoid the basic toward critical positions. Share the refined alternatives with the relevant shareholders is to expert for feedback and input. The alternatives of all above and none of all above should not be used when all of the above is used as an answer. Test taker who can identify more than one alternative is correct can select the correct answer even if unsure about other alternatives. When none of the above is used as the alternative, test taker who can eliminate a single option can thereby eliminate a second option. In either case, student can use partial knowledge to arrive at a correct answer. After considering the feedback and input, make the final decision of the alternatives to the implement. The number of alternatives can vary among items as long as all alternatives are plausible. Alternative choice is a functional distractors, which are those chosen by student have one, not achieved the object but ignored by student that have achieving the objective. There is little difference in difficulty discrimination in test source of reliability among items containing 2 to 3 or 4 distractors. Once the alternatives implemented, monitor its progress and evaluate its ineffectiveness.
Additional guidelines 1. Avoid complex multiple choice items in which some or all of the alternatives consist of the different combination of options. 2. Keep the specific content of items independent of one another. The last topic is consideration for writing multiple choice item that test higher order thinking. So, when writing multiple choice items to test higher order thinking, designs questions that focus on higher levels of cognitive as defined by Bloom's taxonomy. To write a test, we typically want to assess a range of things students should be able to do as a result of instruction. We often want to determine if they remember important elements of the content, but we also want to know if they can use these elements to understand and solve problems, whatever a problem may look like in our own discipline. It's relatively straightforward to write multiple choice questions to determine whether students remember what we want them to remember, and things guidelines can help us do it in a valid and reliable way, but it can be more challenging to write questions that test those higher order skills of being able to use the information.
Good day, ma'am. My name is Marjorie Amorti Bejarano, and today I will going to discuss to you the advantage and disadvantage of MTT. MTT, which means the matching type test, and this is the advantage of MTT. The MTT, which means the matching type test, it is simple to construct, score. It is associations, like a multiple choice test. It is presents the student with questionnaires and alternative. And also, it is reduce the effects of guessing, although the chance of guessing increases as a student progresses in answering items. This, however, it is easily reminded by adding more options. That is the advantage of MTT. And this is the disadvantage of MTT. It tends to us students to associate trivial informations. Unfortunately, most machine type tests emphasize memorizations, and although it is impossible to construct items that measures more complex cognitive skills, and it is also in case of commercial answer sheets, matching items can accommodate no more than 5 options. That was the disadvantage and advantage of MTT. That will be all, ma'am. Thank you.
Short answer completion question. Short answer or completion question can be administered in a short amount of time. That will be all, ma'am. Thanks for watching and have a great day.